By the time you guys are watching this, I will have been at the Salem Regionals, and I will have sold this deck in effort to pick up one of my bucket list cards, Mythical Beast, King of Mythical Beast Chimera, the 2007 World's Prize card. In an effort to pick that up, I will be selling this. So before I put this deck away for good, I wanted to do one last profile on it. Don't worry, you won't be seeing this video right after the previous profile. There'll be a few more in between, but I wanted to get this out just before that happened. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Just like last time, the Megatins actually changed this deck a little bit, more than I expected, but also in a good way this time. Instead of just like getting blown up by Nibiru all the time, there's actually a few more things that's been added to this deck. So start out, we finally got the Prismatics, all these. Finally got my set of all of them. These are really nice. You're running 3 of all Thunder Dragons. Yeah, it's just really standard. There's no really any reason not to run any less than all 3 of them. If you feel at any time you need to take one out for a specific match, I don't know what particular match you'd be going for, but there can be times we can take these out for other things, such as hand traps or Call by the Graves. Other than that, the last Thunder you're actually playing is one duo. This is your searchable Levianeer. This thing just says when you can summon this by banishing a bunch of stuff, getting a bunch of resources off those cards. So this thing is basically like a reset button for your board if you absolutely need it, or it's a last minute extender that can get you to the 3rd Colossus if you don't have access to Fusion. So for the hand traps, it's actually a little bit different. So we have 3-dimensional shifter. I actually cut Aloof Lupine from this deck to play this, but this is actually now 41 cards instead of just 40. Originally, there was only 2 of these in here, but after a little bit more testing, I decided I wanted to play 3. And over the past week and a half, I've regretted doing that. In the future, I would keep this at 2. Well, I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna sell this deck, but I'm gonna put this to 2 because this thing doesn't do anything late game. This isn't like Ash, Ogre, or Veiler where you can actually do it in late game. You can't have any cards in your graveyard when you go for this, so this thing just becomes dead weight as soon as you go to turn 3. So yeah, though every time I did resolve this, especially against Pendulum, Orcust, or Striker, it basically sealed the game because if I have this plus Solar against Striker, they don't have 3 cards in graveyard to like interrupt me in any efficient way. So I'll basically always be going off. So this was really nice. 3 Ogre. This is, in my opinion, the second best hand trap, just because it deals with basically anything in the format. And then 3 Ash, because this is actually the best hand trap in the format, because it deals with literally everything in the format. So the last thing in the main deck is 3 copies of Solar. Yeah, I'm not playing Aloof Lupine anymore because that thing always gets Veilered. And then game 1 and 2, you don't have to, or excuse me, game 1 you don't have to worry about Nibiru. So I don't particularly need it because game 2 and 3 I always side it out anyway. So I'd rather just make room for more hand traps. For spells, 2 Thunder Dragon Fusion. I used to play 3 of this. It's probably still the better number, but 2 has been doing really, really nice. Not breaking out too many of this is really good, but it's just enough to where you can see it plenty, just so you don't have to search it off the dark. You can preserve that search for like a Hawk or just a Thunder Dragon so you can get the free Banishes engrave. So this is really nice. 3 Allure. So this has another use that I didn't realize outside of just banishing stuff. So usually if you open Solar Roar, it just means you're sending Hawk instead of sending the Roar, and then you're gonna Roar, add back Hawk, Hawk, special Roar, but you won't get the Summon of the Dark, so you won't have the last summon to make the 3rd Colossus. Solar plus this and Roar actually will make you have 3 Colossus, because you can go Solar, send whatever you wish, Allure Darkness for the Roar, draw, summon Dark from deck. Solar will summon the token, you link away the Dark in the token for Summoner, Dark will search Hawk, Hawk will revive your banished Roar, and then you have 3 Colossus on board. So this thing, I'm going to keep at 3 in the future. This thing's really, really nice. 3 Desires. This thing is actually just a 3 of in anything that has no stuff on the limited list. Like, this thing is actually pot agreed. There's no reason to explain this. This thing is just insane. 3 Instant Fusion. It's an extender. It's also something you can draw into late game to just make Thousand Eyes, and to out just random stuff. Gold Start because of One Card Colossus, and Monster Born because it's another Hawk. That's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, you have 3 copies of Colossus. This thing's standard. You should be playing 3 of this at all times. 3 copies of Titan. So most players don't run 3 of this, though I find that, especially in Striker or Orchest, the late game actually comes very, very fast. So you'll go Fusion, make Titan, or just a Colossus, and then later you'll banish the Fusion, search a Roar, add back Fusion, and then make Titan. So like Fusion Engrave almost certainly guarantees that you're going to have a Titan during your opponent's turn. So yeah. For the last fusions, Common RA, Thousand Eyes. I think these are standard. For the generic Link stuff, I'm running Boral Sword, Phoenix, Unicorn, just check out generic stuff. Link rebuild out your Matrix. 1 Beat Cop. This thing is better than, in my opinion, than Lanphalinkus, but not as good as Lambda. But I don't own Lambdas or Gammas, so this thing is just as well. But the Gammas do incorporate, they do take up spots in your side deck, so I'd rather just run the Beat Cop, which has some weird applications every now and then. For example, against Striker, if you're making just single Colossus, and you know you can't do anything else, you just go Beat Cop, target the Colossus. So even if they Widow Anchor it, they can't Afterburners it to get rid of it, so they have to go to they're forced to use the battle phase to get rid of it, and most of the time they aren't able to do that. So yeah. Last is 2 Summoner. This thing's just as a vanilla that says Thunder on it, so it's pretty good. For the side deck, 3 Nibiru. Like, this thing is a Sphere mode on crack. You should be playing this in your side because it's combo and pure. It's really good in the mirror match. It's good at basically against anything except for Striker. So yeah, play 3 of this. 3 Pankratops. So Super Poly, I don't own them anymore after the YCS. So I'm playing Pankratops because this outs. Not only does this out like the random stuff like Inspect Border, like an Earth Barrier statue if your opponent's that crazy, but this can also just out like Vortex Dragon. This is guaranteed a bait of a negation, so this is really nice. 3 Lancia because this is good against basically everything except for Pure as long as they know what they're doing. 3 Call by the Grave. Realistically, this should be DD Crows. But I do not have those right now, and this does have some other weird applications, especially in the mirror when you can go, when your opponent has a Colossus Engrave that they've linked off or you've killed, you can Call by the Grave, target their Colossus, get rid of theirs, and then you can start searching again. Last thing inside is 3 Twin Twister. This should be just standard by now. There's no reason not to be playing this, especially since Mystic Mine still exists for some fucking reason. So yeah. Unfortunately, you won't be seeing this deck, at least not for a long time. I'm going to be selling it. Like I said, I'm going to be picking up one of my bucket list cards. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys would like to discuss any deck theory or card theory or have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I do my best to talk to anybody that wants to ask questions or who has any answers that they can give me. So yeah, I hope you guys have a nice time. Goodbye.